On New Year's Eve 2012, 18-year-old Lewis McPherson was walking to a party in Warradale, South Australia, with his friends James Lamont, 19, and Liam Trewartha, 18. Sadly, Lewis never made it to that party, nor did he live to see the new year. He was senselessly shot and killed by a drug-affected, alcohol-fueled teenager, Liam Humbles. Lewis was known by his family and friends as a lovable, happy and hard-working young man. Recently becoming a legal adult, he was full of optimism and ready to embrace what life had to offer. Tragically, his life was cut short by someone entirely opposite to him. 17-year-old Liam Humbles was described by those who knew him as paranoid, erratic and angry, traits exacerbated by his heavy drug use. He had a troubled history with law enforcement, including reports of drug dealing at Brighton High School and carrying a weapon. He had once threatened his father with a knife, prompting a SWAT team response. Instead of being placed in a safe or a rehabilitative environment, Liam was bailed to a house known for drug activity and underage drinking, a decision that defies comprehension. Liam's escalating behaviour should have raised red flags. At one point, he gained access to a gun, recklessly discharging it in a public park and inside a house. Despite at least 5 interactions with police related to drugs, he was only given drug diversion programs rather than facing meaningful consequences. Each encounter was a missed opportunity to intervene before tragedy struck. On the fateful night, Lewis, James and Liam T were walking to a New Year's Eve party. Liam Humbles approached Lewis and his friends, visibly intoxicated and hostile, wearing only a pair of black track pants. He had been drinking heavily, with a blood alcohol level of 0.25, 5 times the legal driving limit in Australia, and was high on methamphetamine and cannabis. Agitated from an earlier argument at another party over a drug deal gone wrong, Liam's anger boiled over. Lewis and his friends were acquaintances of Liam, having attended the same school. When James greeted him with a casual, "What's up?" Liam responded aggressively, shouting expletives. He then pointed a gun at James from just 2 metres away, firing 1 shot at him and 2 at Lewis before firing another shot, possibly aimed at Liam T. James later described the horrific moment. "I looked to my right and saw a blood stain on Lewis's shirt, just above his right pectoral. He clutched it with his left hand, stumbled back, tried to yell but couldn't scream. He took about 3 steps back and slowly fell back. I rushed to his side and held him in my hands and tried to keep him from choking on his blood because he was losing blood." Liam ran away from the scene as Lewis collapsed, unconscious. His friends and nearby neighbours tried desperately to save him, but their efforts were interrupted when Liam returned with the gun just 2 minutes later. Terrified for their lives, James and Liam T fled. Liam stood over Lewis, pressed the gun into his abdomen and chillingly said, "If you don't stop being dead, I'm going to make you really dead." Once Liam fled again, Lewis's friends returned to his side, but it was too late. Lewis had succumbed to his injuries. Liam Humbles was arrested and charged with the murder of Lewis McPherson and the attempted murder of James and Liam T. Even after the incident, Liam showed little remorse, refusing to fully accept responsibility for the senseless murder of Lewis McPherson. He claimed that he could not remember the shooting due to his heavy drug and alcohol consumption that night. During the trial, Liam's mother, Elizabeth, placed blame on the police for their failure to act on her repeated pleas for help with her son's violent and erratic behaviour. She had turned to social workers and child mental health services, but felt her concerns were ignored. Devastated, she admitted on the stand, "I blame myself, of course I effing do. I blame myself every effing day." Liam was sentenced to a minimum of 23 years in prison for his crimes. Unfortunately, he was able to appeal this decision and his sentence was reduced to a minimum of 17 years. This tragic case highlights systemic failures in addressing at-risk youth, the dangers of substance abuse, and the devastating consequences of gun violence. Lewis McPherson's life was taken far too soon, leaving his loved ones to grieve a loss that could have been prevented.